I'm Elaine Sims. I'm on the campus of St. Catherine's College. Today, right now, we are in front of the new Emily W. Hunley Library. I have a guest, Alona Burdett. She is the librarian here. She is a native of Boston, Massachusetts, and now has relocated to Central Kentucky via your husband.
Correct.
Because you all met?
We met in Georgia at Habitat for Humanity and came back here.
Oh, okay.
It'll be 25 years in June.
And how long have you been here? You're the head librarian here at St. Catherine's?
Yes. Be 14 years in July.
Will it really?
It will.
For anyone that has not been to St. Catherine's or there's an alumni of St. Catherine's, this is quite a change from what the old library was. As you come into St. Catherine's from any direction, you're going to see the old mother house, and the old library was underneath the bottom of the mother house on the basement, and it was just, how many square feet?
It was 4,500 square feet, and it was, we used to say it was on the ground floor, but you're right, it was in the basement.
In the basement, in the basement.
And now we're in 30,000 square feet.
I visited that library just before this one opened because I was looking for some history on Washington County, and I found that there was a book here, and Mr. Jack and Jill Pettis, when they died, gave a huge collection of some of their private collection, and I have to say that this library contains some of the most valuable books on Kentucky and Catholic history that I was amazed what was in there.
We have some nice unique materials, and we're having an archive here in a special collections area for the first time, and we'll be able to deal with those materials a little bit more ably than we were able to in our previous space.
Well, there's some amazing books, and for people that do genealogy or do research, history research, we were doing Governor John Pope, and there's a book in there on Governor John Pope that I only know of 2 of in the state, and you have 1 of them now.
Right.
So anyhow, all of that now is behind us with lots of conference rooms.
We'll take a look inside in a little while, but we do have a lot of study rooms. There is a meeting room. There are new classrooms in this building, a cafe. President's got a whiz-bang boardroom that is already been put to use. So the meetings will now be here. Tell me a little bit about your background, please. What was you went to school and so forth? I think sometimes our audience is interested in that. Well, I grew up in Massachusetts, outside of Boston, and went to Colby College in Maine, and studied German and philosophy, so that's not really one of those money-making kinds of majors, and went on to volunteer with Habitat for Humanity, and that's where my husband and I met. In fact, that's where I met your husband. We came back here and met Hamilton at the very beginning. He was one of the early people involved in starting my new Kentucky home, Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
And we're active on the board there for a while.
Okay.
And through Terry Ward.
Wonderful
when
Terry.
When there was a vacancy here, Terry put me in touch with Sister Marina, who was the academic dean at the time, and so that's when I started here.
Well, her husband's uncle was a very, very good friend of my dad's, and we have some of the pieces that he had. He was very fond of our youngest daughter, and she has a brush and comb set that belonged to Mrs. Burdett.
Lovely.
So, as you can see, there's a lot going on. This really does seem like a campus life now. We've got students passing in the back. They are installing the new pavers, which is something we talked about last month when we had Molly Smith on the show. The pavers are being donated by different people. I think the cost for a large one is $500.
That's correct.
About it, but if anyone is interested, they have the large pavers, which I've noticed a lot of the past classes from St. Catherine's are doing this, 1947, 1963. Some of them are just individual donations, and then you can do a brick, which is quite a bit less. But as you can see, they're doing it right now, and pleasantly, there are a lot of pavers going in. So it's one more way to support St. Catherine's College, and a lot of local names, people that are still here and people that have gone before us. So great idea, though, for people that are watching that went to St. Catherine's. If you can, I think the small bricks are only like maybe 125.
I believe they're 250.
250.
Are,
okay,
yeah.
And then the large one.
And the large are actual limestone, same as what's on the surface of the building.
Okay. So of course we're here. We also have the clock, which you can see was donated by the Cameron family. The trees are in bloom. The dogwoods are in bloom, which is perfect. It's just a gorgeous setting. It's hard to believe we're standing on the campus of St. Catherine's College. I think of all those people that came, Sister Jean Marie, all those people that came before us. Martha Lane has to come back to see this because it's pretty amazing. You can come.
It's quite.
So here comes some of our students.
It's quite a transformation.
Okay, this really gives you a good idea of the campus life here at St. Catharine's. Okay, so we'll move inside now, and we'll talk about the inside. Okay, we have moved inside now, but as we're standing here talking, we were discussing all the possibilities for the use of the outside of the building. So let's go backwards just a little bit, and not in viewing, but talk about the outside. As you can see, hopefully you could see, there's a lot of paved area out there, and there's a lot of area to walk around in. So give us an idea what you all are thinking about.
Well, if you saw the tables in the video, those are all going to be moved into the new treed areas, the architectural term. They're telling me those are the bosques, so they'll be moved out into the bosques. And both along the tables and chairs and also along this central lawn area, there are all kinds of installed electrical plugs. People will be able to use their laptops. There's power everywhere. There's a huge power panel. It's part of the building's infrastructure that will allow us to run sound, a band, a movie, so we can have outdoor events here. So we're just beginning to think about what all the possibilities are, how we can use this space, and I'm sure many things will begin to take place outside. It's going to become really a central gathering location.
Well, I was just mentioning as we were walking inside to Jesse Osborne how this may be one of the keys to getting the community here, because I plan to bring our little group here that we meet once every 2 weeks for coffee. The tables are very substantial. It's absolutely a beautiful setting. And there is a Snappy Tomato right here, so there's coffee and food available.
And it's a Snappy Cafe. They've actually done something new at the corporate level. They've introduced a new line of products, a little bit more individual servings. There's paninis, there's wraps and different things like this. It's good food. We've had some. And it's not just a 12-inch or a 16-inch pizza. They just have a personal-sized pizza and then these various other menu items.
Okay. And the coffee, I understand, is not very expensive, so you could come out here and just enjoy. It's like I said, I just can't get over being here. I've only been here one other time. How it seems to have changed the whole atmosphere of this campus.
I think it does. The president a while ago was over here talking, and he said this may be the only college in Kentucky where the library is going to be the big hangout place.
Yeah. And the students that we interviewed a little bit earlier, the basketball students, said they've already been in this building more than they were the first 4 years that the 4 years that they were here.
We've seen it. We're in a much more visible location. We're closer to the residential end of campus for the most part, and we have much higher volume of traffic. We're seeing a lot of students in here that we didn't see previously.
And I'm sure it's going to be day by day, but parking certainly is very accessible. So people are invited to come in to the camp, to come to the library, right?
That's right. We are open to the community. I know Washington County is getting ready to build a new library, but community members can come in and receive a courtesy card here, or come in and use the computers. We've got, I guess we'll walk around and look at some things. We have a new computer lab, 22 computers in the lab, a couple out on the floor.
Wow.
And they're already being used heavily. Everything's wireless. The entire building's wireless. We tried to anticipate, technology is changing so rapidly. How can we not get locked in to something that's going to get outdated? So we just tried to build flexibility and forward compatibility into as much as we could.
I just can't get over it. I'm a little amazed. We are standing in the front lobby as you walk in the entrance of the library, which faces, I guess when you come in you would notice it because of the sign, but Emily, the name is up there, Mrs. Hunley's name is up there, kind lady. And so you're going to come up the steps or from the side, and we're now in the main lobby where you're going to be greeted by is this where you hang out?
Well, this is where the staff is at the desk. There's nobody there now, but we're always close by. Somebody's helping somebody away from the desk just now. There will be a portrait of Miss Hunley that'll hang there, courtesy of your sister and brother-in-law.
Yes, she got to spend the day with her. Yes, yeah. Yes.
As far as features of the building, I'll describe some, and maybe I can describe some centrally, and maybe we get little shots of them later as we go. But the building is set up. There are 3 floors through the center area. The 3rd floor is all classrooms, so there are 6 new classrooms. We've got a 36-seat classroom, 2 24s, and 3 18s. So it's a lot of much needed classroom space. Also,
so there's classes you're using that right now
on the 3rd floor.
Okay.
A few classes are using it now, and it should be fully up and running and incorporated into the schedule once we come back in the fall.
Okay.
Some summer usage as well. So only the central portion of the building has 3 floors. The remainder of the building is 2 floors, and there are 2 wings going out. I don't know if you've
are able to capture a sense of what the building looks like, but there's sort of two arms here, two wings, and then a central part through the middle. This northern wing on the lower level, that's where the Snappy Cafe is.
Okay.
The upper level is mostly all of our book collection. So that runs down the entire length of one wing. Also on the second floor we have an archives and special collections area for the first time. We've had some of the things you referred to. We've had some special collections, but not any really good way to have space to make those available. Also, the President's Boardroom is up there, and that room is, the number I've heard is there is $800,000 in technology built into that room. I don't know very much about it yet, but it will allow us to do some video teleconferencing kinds of things. It just, again, provide a lot of opportunities on this campus for the first time. So bringing us really up to the minute.
I was here the weekend of the Wendell Berry conference, and I was in one of these rooms over here with it was televised. It was
one of the upper classrooms. It was brought in. Yes.
Yeah, which was great. I mean, it was great.
In the classrooms and as well as throughout the library, there are a couple of different kinds of seating. The classrooms have sort of a traditional seating and then something that's being referred to as the bumper cars. I hope they don't get too active in the bumper cars, but they are little pod chairs. I spoke to one of our professors, our Dean of Professional Studies, Dr. David Arnold, was telling me that if he gets the class before the students, he makes sure that all the chairs are pushed into the center of the room. So there's no, I sat there last week and the week before, I'm going to sit there that time. They have to grab a seat, kind of roll to whatever part of the room they're going to go to.
Wow.
It's good for classroom management. You can easily say, okay, get in groups of 4 or any other kind of arrangement configuration. All the classrooms have either smart boards, which are basically integrated with a computer. You can use them to teach from. You can stand at the board. A lot of ways that the technology is directly attached to the board, or they have something where there's a smart pen system. It's a smart system where there's actually, you hold a particular implement and it works in rather the same way. So all those are set like that. As you come down, there's one other wing I didn't describe yet. There are 5 study rooms and a reading room on each of these 2 halls. Everywhere we went in planning the library, every group of librarians we talked to, every group of students we talked to, group study is the way people want to study. It's become a very social enterprise, and so we have rooms that seat anywhere from 3 to 4 to 6 people, and we have 10 of those, and they're already being used heavily. A lot of different kinds of seating in those.
Wonderful.
We have one room on each floor in what we call the Darth Vader chairs. Those are very popular. Maybe you can see why, if we get those on film, why we call them that. There are smart boards in 4 of those study rooms. There are monitors on the wall everywhere, so people can attach their laptops and project a larger image for a shared experience of working together. So many technology features built in.
And I have to ask this question because I know that this library was built for the campus, the St. Catharine students. If there was a group of students that wanted to get together from town that wanted to come out and do that, are they allowed to use those rooms?
Are you high school students?
Yes.
Those rooms, the rooms are available. Right now we're operating them simply first come, first serve.
Okay.
Academic uses are going to have precedence over non-academic uses. So
sure.
We didn't have them in time for the first weekend of March Madness, but they have full cable. They have both the St. Catharine internal channels, which run a scrolling list of announcements and photos and things, but they also have the capability of being set to any kind of a cable station.
Okay.
And the cafe's got about 4 different televisions in there. Again, academic uses are going to have preference.
Well, and I used to have kids that used to come to our house, to study in a group situation. Sometimes doesn't always work, so it is feasible for them to think that they could do that in a group situation.
They can, and of course some of our local Washington County students are St. Catharine students as well. I'm sure you've talked about the Commander College and the dual enrollment kinds of opportunities that exist here. So
we're now in the room with the Elizabeth Maddox Roberts desk that was donated by Bernard Thompson. I was at the auction actually when this desk sold in Thompson and Riley several years ago. They sold many of her things. This desk, I'm sure, came from the house that she lived in on Walnut Street here in Springfield called the Eleanors. Elizabeth Maddox Roberts is a name that many people hear but don't know a lot about her. In the Library of Congress, I was surprised to see when we visited that just one time that she was considered one of the most influential female writers of the century. She was born in 1881. She died in 1941. She was not in great health. When she was about 36 years old, she went to the University of Illinois in Chicago and studied to get her degree. She was a comrade of Faulkner. She had great influence over many writers in the United States. There is now an Elizabeth Maddox Roberts Society. The best thing about her, and there's a new print coming out on one of her books, The Great Meadow, is people from Springfield or from Central Kentucky. She wrote a lot about the Appalachian Trail, how hard it was for those early people. But almost all of her characters are people with names from Springfield. She loved this place. She did not die here. She died in Florida, but she is buried here, and she is honored here by many that know who she is. But for the people that don't know who she is, it's worth visiting our local library. She wrote great poems about Springfield and Washington County and the early pioneer days of people coming in to Kentucky through the Appalachian Mountains. This is a great gift. It's a great gift.
We're very proud and excited to have it here.
It's a great gift.
We have some of her materials. We have a few things that came from her house, some weavings and a little bit of clay pottery that she did.
Good.
Sometimes we've set those out on display when the society comes into town. We have received a donation of some of the correspondence between Roberts and Wallace Kelly from Lebanon, from his daughter, Martha, in New York.
I used to wear her coats. I got her hand-me-downs when I was a little girl.
Okay.
That's great. Albie, yeah.
And this came to us this week, and a couple of weeks ago we received another gift of another literary desk. It's really a marvelous thing for these things to be finding their home here at St. Catharine and in our new library. And this is the desk from Marion County, Kentucky Poet Laureate Edwin Carlisle Litzy, and Mabel Warren, and it's been at the home of her daughter, Lynn Johnson, in Nicholasville for many years, and they were gracious enough to allow it to find its home with us as well. So we hope that this becomes a center for research and study for our local literary giants, and that they become appreciated in their own homes as well as in the broader community.
Well, it is. I mean, and I think about it's so nice that those people are so generous to let it come home. And so many times these kind of things move on and nobody knows the history of them. And this keeps it alive. This could go to a family, and in the next generation wouldn't really make the connection. We have so many wonderful people that came out of Marion and Washington County. You know, Mr. Kelly, Cotton No. There's a book on it recently that's going to be coming out through Western Kentucky University on Stiff Thompson, the foremost folklorist in the United States at this time. And so it's wonderful that it came home, and it's so nice that the people did that. It's a very attractive piece.
It's a lovely, lovely desk. And when the Thompsons were here bringing it to us, he put a beautiful wax coat on there, and thought that would last it maybe another 20 or 30 years.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. We are now in the boardroom, which I can certainly understand your enthusiasm about this room. It's amazing. The dome ceiling, the acoustics in here are just wonderful to be a room this size. Why don't you describe some of the special features in this room that people may not be aware of just from looking at it?
Well, I haven't been trained on this room yet, but what I do know is that it allows communications to come in. You see the very large screens at either end. There's also some drop downs, so things can be done with a projection on screen, but we also have screens of anything that would be shown broadcast. There is a microphone and a video system such that anybody around the table, if I'm here and I have something to say, the video and the microphone are on me, and then a gentleman over here has something to say, the video and the microphone go there. We can do at remote distances, and so that it can do an awful lot of things. There's a prep catering room here so the board can eat. They're here.
Because they usually do.
They do.
They usually do.
And there's several locations in the library. If you see, there's underneath these soffits, maybe there's this white rail. That is art rail, and we will have the appropriate hanging hardware, so there are places where artwork will be hung in the library. Some things perhaps permanently displayed, some things on a rotating exhibit basis. And we're actually trying to get even more of this rail because we want artwork to be incorporated from the beginning of the planning stages of the library. That was some of the input we had, and we feel very good about. Even in our more humble previous facility, we had a number of exhibits, both black and white photography, oil paintings, watercolors, and people would come in and view those things, and now we have a much better way to to bring those collections in and make them available to the campus and community.
Yeah, you're probably going to get more visitors for that. And of course the students, my goodness, what they produce over there for Betty.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, this is a beautiful room. I assume that these are...
There's power in there.
Gosh.
Of course, again, the library is wireless throughout, but if you're over here and need to plug in, you can certainly do it.
Okay. Well, thank Leah Baines, who is the director of the Newberry Agriculture Program here.
Her office is on the third floor.
Third floor. She was what would you say over there? She couldn't get into her room cloistered over there because she had to punch in the numbers. They made room for her when she came. We have interviewed her, I think, twice. The Berry Conference was just here a few weeks ago, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more from her. But she is now in this library building. For people that know a little bit about the Berry Ag program, at least you know where she is now. She's much more accessible. If you come into this building, you can ask for her. Of course, she'll be teaching, and she has set out a curriculum for the Berry Agriculture program.
We tried to design and plan the library so that people who have different study habits, different preferences, have different opportunities to make themselves at home. And people are already using the furniture and these spaces in places we didn't even foresee, but for the most part it's going very, very well. Everyone who comes in, we've had students come in, of course faculty and staff here at the college, community people, parents. We had a graduate come back in, just wanted to see the place. He's going to walk in May, but he wanted to look around. It has lifted the spirits of people on campus, and it's, I think, lifted the profile of the library. I don't think we could say that strongly enough.
Oh yeah, well I can, your excitement. It's great to be here. It's great to look out this window and see this.
Oh, there's glass everywhere. The views. You can sit at the end of the stacks, the book wing, and watch the soccer field and the tennis courts. And there's lots of things that can be seen from here.
Every angle. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you
Appreciate
so
you coming
much.
out.
This is very
Enjoyed having
exciting. This is a great opportunity for St. Catherine's and for the whole community, the whole Tri-County area, and beyond.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.